Yeah. Okay, so here we go. What we have over here is hardware and software. Obviously, these are those topics that you have been doing since your middle school. But obviously, I mean, I would not try to be overconfident on this, and neither should you be, because initial first five questions, they are from these chapters, one, two, three. And if you somehow commit a mistake in this, it gives a very bad impression. So, I mean, we have to be perfect in this. So we do know that we have certain input devices as they have mentioned over here. Okay. Whatever we can input into the system. So keyboard, mouse, and camera can actually input data into the system. And monitor, printer, and plotter can actually output data from the system out. Monitor displays out, printer displays out. Okay. Using digital to analog converter. Okay. In case of this, and in case of this, we're using analog to digital conversion. Plotter is this same kind of a printer type. We do know that we will be looking into more hardware devices like motherboard, central processing unit. Okay. So in a central, yeah,
Can I write?
yeah, sure, you can write. You can also write. Yeah, do let me know if I'm going fast. Okay.
Okay.
Right. So motherboard, obviously, motherboard is a chip. It's a big chip that is made up of polycarbonated wafer. It's not a plastic, and you actually have buses going around. These buses actually do what is they actually help the data to flow. This is what buses actually
Yeah.
do, right? Okay. Just 1 second. Let me just pause this. I just want to call someone. Okay. Sorry. Can you see my screen now?
Yeah.
Okay. So I was saying
Yeah.
was yeah. So I was saying basically was that your motherboard basically is made up of polycarbonate wafer, and your buses that actually allow data to flow into different peripheral devices. These buses obviously have different speed in gigahertz. Okay. Uh, some buses allow faster data to flow, some buses allow less data to flow. So, I mean, that's what motherboard is. Motherboard basically allows different hardware devices to be connected to different peripheral devices. Central processing unit is the processor that we will be discussing in the later chapter, as they have mentioned, chapter 2. But let's talk about it right now a bit. Central processing unit basically is this. You have is a CU, a control unit. You have registers, and you have obviously over here is your accumulator. Accumulator basically will do all the mathematical tasks and your comparison operators. So all the plus, minus, multiplication, division, greater than, less than, greater than equal to, less than equal to, all these operations are actually done with the help of an accumulator, arithmetic operations. A control unit basically does is it tells when and how much data has to flow. It's just like a traffic control system. A register is just like a RAM that temporarily stores data. Okay? It temporarily stores the data, right? That's basically what a RAM does, right?
Yeah.
Okay, right. So you know what a RAM actually is, okay? Right. Okay, fine. Marcel, it's okay. Okay, let's continue. Then you have is read-only memory ROM. Well, yeah, while I was talking about motherboard, even in a motherboard we have is a ROM. ROM is a terminology that is not only meant for motherboard. When we talk about a CD-ROM, we refer to the same thing, CD-ROM, read-only memory, which means you can only read the data. In a motherboard, you have buses and you have as a BIOS. So when we talk about a BIOS in these chips, even in phones, that's basically a ROM. Okay, your manufacturer's details when you turn on your phone, when you turn on your computer, you get certain instructions. Okay, you get a logo. Okay, if there has to be an installation, an update, okay, it will be done within the ROM. So graphic card, we know graphic card is there to enhance the graphic abilities. the resolution of our system. Sound card is obviously there to convert digital into analog and analog into digital sounds. A mic and a speaker both are basically integrated within a sound card. Network
Wait,
interface.
sir, can you go up for 1 second?
Yeah, sure, sure. Here we go.
Oh, okay.
Right. So we have over here. Yeah, you are allowed to tell me. Sir, pause. Okay. Just say pause. I will pause whenever you want me to. Okay. Okay.
Okay.
I will go with the continuity. Right. So network interface card. Don't hesitate. Just let me know. Network interface card. NIC card. You know what an Ethernet is. Okay. And Ethernet. Maybe I
Yeah.
did show you the last time. You know. Okay. So network interface card is there in any device that needs to be connected, okay, with the network. So now network interface card could be wired, okay, could be wireless. That's why we have is a wireless network face interface card. We call it WNIC. This basically has this as an antenna that can transfer data. Okay, so again, unless network interface card is there to let that particular device system to be connected with other networks or devices. Okay, right. Why I'm not specifically talking about PCs, okay, or phone. You could have an NIC card in a printer. You could have an NIC card in a scanner. You could have an NIC card on a standalone camera. Okay, you could have it anywhere you want to. Even in the latest fridge, they have LCDs and they have a network interface card. Internal storage devices, hard disk drive. So we will obviously study about these in more detail. Motherboard, we talked about this. The important thing that you should remember over here is, which they've mentioned really well, is one of the major functions of a typical motherboard is to act as a hub. Like I told you, it's a hub. I was actually saying was that the important thing over here is that a hub, motherboard is a hub. Okay. So basically, a typical motherboard consists of a sheets of I told you it's a polycarbonate wafer. Okay. So it can attach different sockets and components to it. RAM, I just told you. RAM is volatile. Important thing. It stores data temporarily. Okay. And read-only memory, I just told you, it can hold data for a long time. It's non-volatile.
Wait, sir, can you, like, can I write?
Sorry.
Can I write?
Yeah. So ROM is basically non-volatile. Okay. Information
Okay.
stored in a ROM chip will not be lost even if the power supply is off. Okay. I just told you that BIOS, the input output system, binary input output system, is one of the example of it. CD-ROM is an example of it. Right. Should I continue?
Yes, sir. No, sir.
Okay. Let me know.
Okay.
Right. So then we talked about the central processing unit. We talked about the arithmetic logic unit. We talked about the control unit and the registers. So we already talked about this. We talked about the network interface card, okay, which I think so you already have written, okay.
Yeah.
The graphic card, basically graphic cards, they usually have their own processing unit because they have to process a lot of information. They have to process graphic information. Remember, processing text does not require a lot of processing power, but processing pixels, graphics, video requires a lot of processing power. This is why we need to have a central processing unit for the graphic card. Memory, it has its own RAM as well. It has a cooling mechanism, obviously, just like a processor heatsink. Okay, and connection to display unit. Obviously, It has its own input and output display connections. Sound card, I just talked about it with you. Um, you can have for speakers, you can have for microphones. It converts analog and digital to analog. Hard drives will be a very detailed discussion where we'll be talking about our conventional hard drives, which we call is HDD, hard disk drives. Hard disk drive basically is a spinning motor that spins the plates, which have tracks, and data is stored on tracks. In case of SSD, solid state drive technology is made up of logic gates, and this technology tends to be more robust, faster, consumes less energy, and generates less heat, is lightweight, so tends to have obviously a lot more advantages. The only disadvantage that initially was or still is that SSD tends to be more expensive. Should I continue here?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, let me know.
So in my next class,
Oh, sorry. Yes, speak.
in my next class, can you take my test for the this chapter?
Yeah, I will. Surely I will. I'll do it.
Okay.
Surely I will. Okay. So I just have to share. I just
Just 1 second, sorry.
Yeah. So you mean on Thursday?
Yeah.
Yeah. And coming, I'll also inform your mother as well. Probably coming Sunday we can have that extra class, and maybe next Sunday we can have another extra class that we missed. Okay.
Okay, but on Sunday, Sunday and
The next Sunday, next 2 Sundays.
okay. But on the
Okay.
Sunday, can we do it in like the lunchtime or something?
Well, no problem. Just let me know. No
Okay.
issue. No issue.
Okay.
Okay. So we have that's a motherboard, that's a RAM, that's a ROM, that's a graphic card, that's a sound card, that's an SSD, that's an HDD. Why is it important for you to know? Obviously, because you are supposed to know, and then you get a question where they ask you to do so. Okay. Software. Well, software is basically, you know what softwares are. Softwares are a piece of codes that you can't see, and they are there to do some specific tasks. Softwares are divided into different categories. For example, the very first one that we have is an application software. An application software basically does is that I want to type a letter, I want to make a menu, a memo, whatever. I use a word processor. We should know that word processors have different properties. They have spelling checks. Okay. They can format, they can add graphics, they can add different styles, tables, and all that. I mean, this is something that you should know because you can get a question where they can ask you is write down the different properties of a word processor, or write down different properties of a spreadsheet, write down different properties of a database. So if they ask you, let's say, to write down different properties of a spreadsheet, I think so. Just think of Excel. Just tell me what can you do in Excel. What can you do? You can make graphs. You can make graphs, can't you? You can use different functions and formulas to do lots of mathematical, statistical, engineering calculations. Yes or no, Ayan?
Yeah.
Exactly. So, I mean, you have to think of, you can do conditional formatting. Yes or no, Ayan? You can
Yeah.
apply validation rule in spreadsheet. Yes or no?
Yeah.
So just think over it. Just think what can you do in Excel. Things will be a lot easier for you. I'm telling you, this is one of the questions that does come. In a database, if they ask you, think of access. And while you're thinking of access, just write down, and you don't have to mention access. Don't use these names. You can say databases can be used to import different generic file formats. They can be used to make tables. They can be used to make relationships, define primary keys, define foreign keys. They help us to validate our table in a very proper manner. They help us to make queries to filter out data. They help us to make a form. They help us to make a report. I think so. This is like 8 marks question. Yes or no?
Yeah.
Okay. So every time when you discuss a topic, and think beyond, please. Okay. Think about the
Okay.
software that you're using. It's so easy. Okay. Right.
Okay.
You have to come out of the box and think, and it is not something difficult. Control and measuring softwares. Control and measuring softwares are, let's say we have a software made to control and measure for traffic control system, or maybe we have it for a hospital system. So we'll use different sensors that will take the data from the environment, and they will also measure it. Like measure means I want to know how many cars are there in a junction, and then I could control using the traffic lights. I could use control measuring software. You know where? I could talk about is a greenhouse. You know what a greenhouse is. A greenhouse, which is a house that maintains a specific temperature. Especially, let's say in a desert, you have some tropical plants, and these plants obviously can't grow in desert. They have to be grown first in a greenhouse, but has to be controlled. It has to be controlled with the respect to moisture. It has to be controlled with respect to the temperature. It has to be controlled with respect to the pH level of the soil. It has to be controlled with respect to um, your sunlight that comes in. So,
Yeah.
can we not do this with the help of ICT? Because we can use different sensors, and we can do that. Are you following me, Ayan, on this?
Yeah.
Very good. Apps and applets. These are just in examples, and any app they're talking about. Okay, so nothing much to discuss. Video editing software obviously is there to edit a video. Now, if a question comes in, what do you think so? And if I ask you, can you tell me some three typical features of video editing software? What would you say?
Um, you can edit videos.
Okay, fine. That was a very clever answer. Elaborate more. I'm sure you have used.
You said video editing, right? Or
Yeah, but
graphics editing?
what have you ever used a video editing software?
No.
Come on, yeah.
Sir, I actually never had a reason to use it.
I mean, okay,
Uh,
I don't you? Okay, oh, you don't have a phone, right?
yeah, I don't.
Okay, I mean that's a very good thing for frankly speaking. It's a very good thing. I like it. Okay, actually, you can actually cut. I'm recording something, and let's say with the video editing software, I can cut.
You can cut some places out.
Exactly. I don't want it to be, but I can cut it. I can cut and paste. I can increase and decrease the speed of the video. Yes
You
or
can
no?
like make it blurry.
Blurry. Exactly.
You can
So
give like what is it called? A green screen and then put background.
very good. So you know it. Well done. That's what I was saying. That's what I was saying.
Yeah.
So yeah, just start thinking this way. Okay. So if you start thinking this way, I'm telling you, you will never say, "Sir, I was not able to answer any question." Okay. Graphic softwares again. Graphic editing. Think of Photoshop. What can you do in Photoshop? Lots of things. Same way. You
Yeah.
can you can cut, crop images. Okay, change the filters, opacity, blur. Same way. Type text to it, so on and so forth. Audio editing again. You can edit the audio, temper the speed, cut an audio, paste an audio, change it, save into file formats. Computer aided design software. Now they actually should have. I'm actually discussing this you right now to save time. Okay, refer to 1.3 for more details. We will save time actually because this
Okay.
discussion will come there. Computer aided softwares are actually those softwares that are used to like AutoCAD. You want to design a new type of bicycle or a car. So if you want to make a 3D model of that, you need to use is a computer aided design software, where with the help of this 3D software, you can actually make is a prototype of it. Okay, so computer aided designing softwares are used for modeling. Okay, that's why we use them. Then we have system softwares. A system software basically is that software that is actually used to help the OS. It helps the OS to perform efficiently. What's an OS? An OS basically is your like Windows XP, Windows 11, These are your operating systems, Linux, Unix. So all these softwares that we have, all of them come under the category of system software. Compilers, linkers, device drivers. Compilers, interpreters do what? Compiler actually turn a high-level language into a low-level language. So, such as working in Python, I want the Python code to be converted into a machine code. I will use a compiler for that. Compiler will convert my Python code into a machine level code. So compiler will do that. The difference between compiler and interpreter, Ayan, is compiler does it in one go, interpreter does it line by line. You get my point?
Yeah.
So if I have a module, the compiler will actually convert all the modules in one time. An interpreter will actually do it in batches. Linkers do what? Linkers actually link the library, okay, the library with these high-level language code and make is the source code. Now, don't get confused. Okay, now what do I mean by the source code is, and what do I mean by library is, sometimes when you're programming in Dreamweaver, you type the first tag, automatically a drop-down comes in. So it tries to facilitate you. So there are built-in libraries within languages that help you to save time. For example, if you're not working with Python, in Python you have lots of libraries built in. You can import random, you can import math. So after importing math, you can do all sorts of mathematical calculations. Okay, so libraries have those most commonly used procedures that are already built in these libraries. Okay, we call them library. Yes or no?
Yeah.
Okay. And then we talk about utility softwares. Utility softwares are like your antivirus softwares, your defragmentation softwares. Okay, these are your utility softwares. Okay, so word processor.
Okay. Sir, 1 second, sir.
Yeah, sorry.
Okay.
Yeah, sure.
Yes.
Okay. Then what we have is, okay, so word processor we knew. Spreadsheet. We talked about database. We talked about all of these. We did. It's just a summary. Compilers, linkers, device drivers. I didn't talk about, but obviously a device driver is there to help that particular device to be installed recognized by the operating system. For example, although we don't need device drivers nowadays, because our operating system, they have all these uh, drivers for these hardware devices already built in. But in case if there's not there, then obviously we have to install it. In simple words, for a particular hardware to be recognized by a computer, we need to have is a device driver. So they're built in within operating system these days. These drivers could be for the printers, for the memory sticks, for the mouse, CD, whatever. Any peripheral device that is attached to a system that needs to work, that needs to communicate with the operating system, needs to have a device driver installed. Right. Utilities I discussed with you, and these are all the utilities: antivirus, anti-spyware, backup of files, disk repair, file management. These are all those extra software that are used to help the operating system to work more efficiently. Okay, so we have the OS as well. We talk about operating system such as Windows. You just think about Windows 10, 11. What you can do: input and output operations. You can install application softwares. You can load and execute programs. You can manage folders. You can delete folders. I mean, obviously, whatever you can do with an operating system, just think about it. Okay, and you can just write down either of those properties. Right? I don't know how much is left. Will we be able to? I think so. Actually, I'm discussing with you in a lot more detail. Oops, I'm actually going slow.
No.
I'm not going slow, but we can't finish it today. It doesn't matter. We don't have to run fast. I can do with you. Where was I? Where did I stop? Okay. Let me just continue a bit more, then I'll stop. Okay. Let me continue.
Okay.
So where was I? Analog. Yeah. Analog is digital. We talked about this is analog. This digital. Um, When we speak, it's analog. When it stores into computer in the form of zeros and ones, you can see that is known as digital form. Okay. So obviously nothing much. All you should know is that we have digital to analog converter and analog to digital converter. That's all what you should know in this. Main components of a computer system, input output. We have already discussed this. It's repetition. RAM, ROM. Okay, see, that's going to be fast. We've already discussed the CPU. Yes or no? I've discussed all this with you, Jan. Yes or no?
Yeah.
Okay. I have discussed with you the RAM
Yeah.
and the ROM as well. Okay. I did discuss with you while I started. I knew they would do it. And the BIOS as well, I told you. Remember? Okay.
Yeah.
Right. RAM and ROM, very typical question,
Yeah.
permanent and all that. Input and output devices. Well, obviously, that is used to enter data, send data to another device. Okay.
Wait, sir, let me write this. Okay, one second.
Yeah. In that is allows user to enter data, can send data to another device. Input devices are necessary for computer to receive commands from the user. Input devices can be fairly complicated because they have to ensure that user can interact with the computer correctly. Yeah, because they actually mean to say is that input devices have to work properly, because what command you given, it will be obeyed, and if you enter a wrong command, it will be obeyed accordingly. That's what they actually want to say. You get my point?
Yeah.
And output devices? Well, output devices is any hardware device that takes the output from the computer, obviously, is capable of receiving data from the device. Uh, Output devices are needed by a computer so it can share the results of processing with humans, right? Outputs are less complex than input. Okay? Yeah, they're less complex.